Hey, good morning, Patriots. It's good to be seen, and I'm seeing you, and you're seeing me. Well, I'm not seeing you, but you can see me, which is a good thing. It's good that you're all here, and another great day to be alive, to watch the chaos as it is, not as we want it to be, which is kind of interesting based on some things we're going to talk about today. I was told, hey, Chris. Speaking of doing things and being seen, Chris is going to be seen. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Tony. Yes.
So, did you know, according to CNN, some uh, commentator, that we white people need to vote for Kamala because we got to save democracy because of reasons? Did you hear that? That's we better get on the get. We better get on that, right? I guess we're missing
That's
out.
right. That's right. My parents used to say when I asked them questions about why should I do this, is because I said so. And apparently
Yeah,
that's the
because I said
logic.
so.
That's the logic of the leftist commentators now. This is the sign of desperation. When Lizzo doesn't work, they trot out Ben Stiller. They're just going down the list here. And now these
So,
commentators are telling you because you're white, you have to vote for Kamala.
so I don't know about you, but nothing makes me want to vote for a candidate more than seeing a fat singer get on her own private jet telling me that I don't know how to smell democracy. Man, uh, is it spell or smell? Did she say I can't smell? I can smell democracy a mile away, and she doesn't. She's not democracy. Just saying. So, just
Well,
saying.
well, we,
There's other things that smell, and I'm sure there are smells there which I don't want to get into. But I don't find the appeal. I don't find appeal. I don't know if the Patriots do find it appealing for to motivate me to vote for someone based on a private jet. And oh, by the way, did you know that Lizzo is a big old? There she is. She's a CO2 generator. Did you know that?
she has a large carbon footprint. Yes, absolutely.
She's got, as stars go, she's one of the top five in carbon footprints, both personally and her lifestyle. I
Right.
mean, I don't know if which puts out more CO2, she or her private jet, and that's saying something there. So I don't know,
Well,
but
Lizzo was the final mark of desperation, and you watched her, right? You watched her at the rally.
oh, I watched it. I
Uh,
watched it. Let's make
The tr-
America Detroit. Oh yeah,
the
I've
tr-
I've been talking to people who don't normally pay attention to politics, telling me about that. So
the truth is, she sang. That means it's over
yeah, well,
because the opera
I,
isn't over until then.
I know. Well,
It's over for Kamala.
She's gonna sing. There's a couple of Lizzo songs which come to mind, which I don't want to get into, but it's coming. You know what it reminds me of though? Another guy that I think you and I both like, Dandy Don Gifford. Turn out the
Ah,
lights, the party's over. They say that all good things must end. Remember that from Saturday night NFL on Monday
I
Night
do.
Football.
I
Monday
do
night.
remember that. The other thing I remember is Sha Na Na's closing song, "Good Night, Sweetheart." Well, it's time to
Yeah.
go. Dot, 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 dot. I was
Yes,
the bass man
Timberland
in my
59. That is correct about the passage of gases.
and I was the bass man in my barbershop quartet, by the way. That's why I could do a good
So
Bowser.
yeah, good. Well, it's good. Well, speaking of barbershops, you saw Trump mixing it up in the Bronx. Wasn't that good?
Yeah, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And not everybody was Eddie Murphy dressed up as 4 or 5 different characters. No, these are real
No,
people.
or Medea. Medea goes to the barbershop with
Oh, that's right. I confused that with I had
Martin
a problem. I thought I
Lawrence.
was watching that movie when I was watching a Stacey Abrams interview. So,
Yeah.
I have to remember to put my references together
So let me
sometimes.
ask you a question. So you brought up something. So is Stacey Abrams and Lizzo the same person? Because I've never seen them in the same room together.
Well, let's put it this way, one can sing, one can't. That's the difference.
I don't know.
That's it.
Uh, there, it's. I think that would be an interesting test. See which one has the largest carbon footprint. Don't you
Mm.
think we should have environmentalists studying that?
I think they should if they
Which
d but they wouldn't like the answer.
no, I'm sure they wouldn't.
No, they did not.
I'm sure they wouldn't. So anyway, so let's go on to other things we need to talk about. So, what video do you want to start off with? You got a few for us today, right, Chris?
All right, let's have some fun first.
All
Since
right.
we're gonna have two very special guests today, by the way, and we're gonna play a
Oh,
very
we do.
special video
We
from
do.
one.
That's
Uh,
right.
but here's I guess the kids like to say cringe and riz and spank and things like that. But this is I guess an example of the first. remember that video those Hollywood idiots did for Kamala Harris, where they were like in their cowboy settings, and the guy in the
They
weight
do
room
dozens
going,
of cringe videos, Chris. Which one are you talking? I mean,
the one with the
it's all
real men,
cringe.
the staged kind of gay real men with the gay references we were
Oh,
doing
that
last week.
yeah, they're real men for yeah, white men for Kamala. Yeah,
Well, look what TikTok has. Someone, I guess, some group, or it might be the same group. I'm not exactly sure, so don't quote me on this. Put together a Tim Walls. Uh, 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 I don't know what to call this, but here it is. And if you want to spit out your breakfast, this is your warning. We started with the tough music, by the way. Oh, and he's on a roller coaster.
I love sinking into the couch, cold beer in my mouth, rooting for the twins and Tim. And I love sharing all my tools, playing by the rules, keeping those edges trim. And Tim, I love leaving my white notes, making
Wow.
plans to vote, helping common the win. And Tim, we love
He's
you,
horrible.
Tim.
I think my eyes are gonna bleed.
Go get him, coach.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Holy cow!
And think
Wow.
about, and if look at what happens in this video. First things first, they're talking about
Yeah,
rooting for the Twins, which, by the way, let's put it this way: the Twins had a great chance. They all year they had a playoff spot until they blew it towards the end, and they lost. They couldn't. They didn't even make the playoffs. There you go. And you
yeah.
have all these real men again with the fake country music. This isn't real country. It's that crossover crap. And they're wearing the millennial uniform. I guess this guy must have been in his mom's
Hoodie.
basement.
Yeah, hoodie. Yeah. Well, his mom's making him popcorn, which is
That's
good for that mom. So,
well, of course, he has to insult lots of people on the internet. That's why he needs his popcorn.
so let's break this down a little bit. I don't. I'm let me go on a record and say I don't think a single man's going to change their vote. As a matter of fact, I think you may have some people change the other way. Like I can't vote for this knucklehead. I mean, Chris, you and I have been in the media long. Who was that commercial uh designed for?
If they're
Who's the
transitioning
audience
it
for
like
that?
this, but your people to vote the other way just out of yeah.
I mean,
They think
it's
it's
like,
men. They really do. Who
oh,
well, look, they're trying to do stereotypical man things. Remember that Gillette commercial?
oh, I do, and I
Yeah.
don't use Gillette products based on that commercial now.
No, and this is what's going to happen here too. They're trying. The Democrats seem to love to insult people's intelligence. Okay,
Yeah,
yes, rooting for the Twins. Twins are terrible. Their Twins had a shot. They were terrible. Now you're watching all these people cheering and watching sports and doing manly things again and doing family things. Oh, look at that! Now tough tools and the wrenches and things like that.
sharing my tools.
Yep.
Nobody I know likes sharing tools. I mean, I'm a guy, and it's like, no, you don't share tools. I mean, you got your tools, you go do things. I think that's a gay reference. Just saying,
Playing by the
just
rules.
just saying.
This is an interesting little flash here, and it's going to go past everybody, but playing by the rules.
Yeah,
The signs say, please return shopping carts here. However, you can tell there was an article I read, and I have to pull that up sometime. You can tell. I'm going to pull the video back up too. You can tell uh, what kind of leftist run town you're in, what kind of area you're in by going to shopping malls and shopping centers, grocery stores, if you will, and seeing if people push their carts in or not. Bring their carts to the cart corral, or if they're all over the place. If they're all over the
didn't you?
place, they're usually in a deep blue a welfare area
Right?
that people don't care
Yeah.
about anything. And you're in a
Di-
cleaner area, you don't see these carts all over the place.
No, at San Francisco, if you don't put your cart back, they arrest you and put you in jail. You can poop on the street, but you got to put your cart back. Just saying. There you go. Following the rules are important. You got to go, go pee on the side of the store. Who cares?
Well,
No, it's wackadoodle.
the point I'm trying to make is this whole thing about the shopping carts. You go into a nice area where it's run nice and people are happy to be there. People earn what they're making, and they care about their environment. So they push their carts back. But in a very liberal area, very blue area, and I believe, and let's the Patriots. Can you attest to can you testify to this with me too? And these like uh, blue areas, they leave these carts all over the place, garbage in the parks, garbage all over the streets because they don't care. They don't earn what they're getting, and they know the free money is coming in, so somebody else will do the job. Somebody else
Right.
will clean these carts up. And I
So,
think that's where I'm
uh,
going here.
so yeah, Chris, did you know that if you hold your breath long enough, we all turn blue? Did you know that? So
I don't know. Let's see.
it's a fact. It's a fact. It's a fact. So I
I
guess they're all holding
can't
their
do that.
breath and they're going to turn blue and die. So, I'm not threatening anybody. Everybody's going, "Oh, yeah, yeah." No, I just think that they are a suicide squad, right? It's like these people are all like, remember that thing, Jim Jones in Guyana? The Kool-Aid. These people are all drinking the Kool-Aid, Chris. Just
Yeah.
saying. So,
Well,
man,
there's a
oh man.
reason why Jim Jones was very lovey-dovey to the socialists in California. By the way,
Well, he was a socialist, and
he
Nancy
he
Pelosi
was
was his
a
friend, and he San Francisco liberal.
oh he was very close to Harvey Milk. By the way, Jim Jones was very close to the
Well, I don't want to
socialist
go down that.
politicians there. Harvey Milk was one of them. Well, yeah, that's another
Harvey
one.
Milk was
So
a lot of
they might
things.
have been drinking
I don't
something
want to
else
open that
besides the
door. I'll
Kool-Aid.
get in
That's another
trouble.
story.
I'll get in trouble.
Yeah.
But the Kool-Aid, yeah. No, I don't want to open that
But,
door
but
because obviously Dianne Feinstein, Nancy Pelosi, those apples don't
yeah.
fall from the tree of evil. Just saying. So
So, but when a lefty tells you you're drinking the Kool-Aid, think of the irony in all of that. That's left
yeah.
politics. Drinking the Kool-Aid is about leftist politics. That's the truth.
Oh yeah. It is. Well, speaking of, didn't they have a bar scene in that video we saw? Man, that was painful.
Oh, yeah, well,
If I want to, if I ever go back, if I get pushed back into DOD by Trump, I'm gonna issue guidance that when we have to interrogate people, they have to watch that video right there as part of the interrogation, and just have them keep watching that video till they talk. Oh
yep.
my God, it's torture.
And another thing, see this little scene here?
Yeah.
Making a plan to vote, mail in those ballots. A
Oh
mail-in
yeah,
ballot.
mail.
They want you to mail in the ballots. They don't want you to show up because showing up is going to be not a thing in the future, according to them. It's going to be all mail in, all from your home, and pretty soon, if they have their way, you're going to be pressing a button or two from
Exactly.
your PlayStation
So
or
this is a
Atari
real
system.
change because I used to work with a nonpartisan group back in 2020 to create conditions for hand-marked paper ballots only.
Right.
And man, oh man, have they abandoned that concept on the left? It's like, and I worked with lefties on this. We were, unified, and that the unit, the thrill is gone from that unity because they want everybody to be voting remotely because they want to be able to, oh, I don't know, manipulate things, throw in a couple of 100,000 extra ballots that they've hand marked themselves.
Yeah, exactly. And let's see, going down the video a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all partying here now. Yeah, I don't see this. Oh my gosh, that's the
No,
DNC. See, she
did
that's
they
the
have the part
DNC.
of him basically hurting his penis by trying to load a shotgun on it? That's a
No,
good video.
they
I
won't
can't
have that,
believe
but
they
they
didn't
have
use
his
that.
but they have his hand over his heart, like he cares about you and he cares about the country. We
So
love you, Tim.
let me address that real quick for the Patriots.
Right.
Look, does anybody think that Tim Walsh gives one hoot about anyone other than Tim Walsh? I mean, and this thing that she talks about, oh, we want to make sure people have dignity. Look, Kamala, I don't want you doing anything with my dignity or anybody else's dignity and aspirations. They always talk about, oh, we want an economy based on helping people's hopes, dreams, and aspirations. Like, I don't want the government touching anything about hopes, dreams, or aspirations. What do you think? I mean, do you want Kamala telling you what you should be doing with your aspirations?
That's right. You know what? Whenever I hear all that stuff, it makes me aspirate. That's a
Yeah,
different
I know.
aspiration, I suppose, right? Yeah.
I suppose.
But
Well, we got to. Speaking of aspirations, we got some good aspirations we got to tell the folks about right now,
excellent.
and that is, of course, our friend who was on the show yesterday, Paul Stone, and Colonial Metals. So, one of the things that you do need to do with your aspirations, not mine and not Chris's, although we're on the same team, is how to secure your future and your family's future. And you do that by making sure that you don't rely on the government. That's the first thing. Don't be buying into Kamala helping you with your dreams and aspirations. I want to make an aspirational economy. It's like, yeah, she'll make an ass of you and me. Just saying, that's her version of aspiration. So what we want to do is help you bulletproof your savings, your family's future by reaching out to Paul Stone and his team at colonialmetalsgroup.com. And of course, you go to Colonial Metals and our friend Ed Henry, our boss Ed Henry's part of the internet.
He looks rather
By the way,
dapper on this, doesn't he?
he does look dapper. Well, he always
Dapper.
looks dapper.
That's the word.
So that is dapper. By the way, does he have to rent the internet by the minute? I don't know how that works. But anyway,
Yeah, you have to
go,
ask Al Gore.
the interwebs. That's right. So go now. Well, go after the show, but go anyway. Go today. Go check out colonialmetalsgroup.com/Ed-Henry. Ed and the folks that he works with, us and Paul, want you to be prepared to do what you need to do for your family. Gold, silver, hard currency, things which will not lose their value. Any day, you could see a massive deflation of the dollar. There's a lot of forces. We talked about BRICS yesterday. We're going to talk about it again because as we speak, Vladimir Putin, whether you like him or hate him, is having a big meeting of BRICS nations in Russia. And they're going to be doing what they can to basically, can I say this, to fund our economy? Because that's what they're going to do. And so don't be waiting for Kamala to give you aspirational help. Right, Chris? Don't be waiting for Kamala. I don't think that help's coming.
But she wants an opportunity economy for you and me and everybody. And the equity,
Yeah.
and people have to pay their fair share. No, not the millionaires, because she's one.
No,
the
I want to know.
billionaires have
So,
to pay it.
so Chris, did we get a private jet like Lizzo and her opportunity economy? Is that the opportunity we're going to get?
Well,
To get Lizzo's jet?
Well, it's specially made for her, so I think, yeah.
You'd have to wash it out really good. I'm saying it'd take a week to get that thing cleaned with steam cleaning. It's like, oh, we're going to give you Lizzo's jet. It's like, really? Man, I got to get Service Pro out there to get that thing. It's like, man, I don't even want to. Just the pizza boxes alone to get out of that thing would take a day. So just say it. But I digress. Anyway, check them out. Do what you can to help you and your family. We have confidence in Paul. Paul's a great guy. Again, he'll be next Tuesday. You do the thing that you need to for your family, and that is gold, silver, and hard metals. That's our advice to you. Do what you need to do to protect yourself. Good advice. And I forgot the number, 800-805-4034, 800-805-4034 if you want to do it the old-fashioned way. So anyway, back to Kamala Ding Dong, 101 Ding Dong. They had to do a song about that. It's like a kid's song,
Who put the bump and the bump, shabump. Who put the can and the Kamala Mala Ding Dong. That's it. How
there you go.
That? And again, I could do my bass voice. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna get my crew back, my barbershop quartet.
Well,
because it's getting to be winter.
I'm going to be with a bunch of rock and rollers here in a few days. Man, that's coming up, isn't it?
Maybe they need a bass man.
So a week from tomorrow.
That's right.
No, a week from today. Wow. It's a week from today. I'm flying out to see our friends in LA. So yeah.
Yeah. He loves LA, just like Randy Newman.
Yeah, I love that big old bodacious redhead. That's what I like. That was a good video. So
speaking of big old bodacious redheads, I have to pull this up. I was I'm not going to say her name, but she's a very, very funny comedian, although very, very liberal. I'm trying to see if I can pull this up here. She posted, okay, this is the season of incessant I voted posts. Okay. They're rather annoying. I thought something was rather interesting. And again, she posts this. I want to make sure this is really true all over the entire state. So if anybody's in California, let me know if this is really true. But she posted a picture of the ballot that she voted on. I'm trying to pull that up. Bear with me, my people here. Let's see.
No problem.
Okay, bear with me here. I'm trying to pull this up, and this is what the ballot looked like. And what about this list? Do you notice?
I don't know. I can't really see it that closely because I've got a small. Oh, there's Jerry.
Wrong one. Oh, sorry about
Joy's
that.
birthday. Got us. Okay, there. Okay. I don't know. I give up.
Oh, I'm missing. This is messing up here. I'm here. It is. This is it. Here it is. Check it out. Read the list on the national election here. President and vice president vote for one party.
I don't see Trump. Where's Trump?
Right. Trump is lower than Jill Stein on this list here.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, they do stuff like that purposely. I
Right.
know here in North Carolina, they're supposed to randomly generate the order of the candidates, so you just can't go and check every box of a certain party. I don't know.
It's strange. It's strange, but that's something I just noticed about it. And if anybody has any information on that, if they're in California, check it out.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
I just found that interesting because it makes somebody who wants to vote for Trump have to go a little bit lower for one of the two major parties in the
Well,
country.
ask Cherie. Cherie will tell you. I mean,
Yeah,
she's going to be voting out there.
yeah.
So
That's right. She's not doing the mail-in, I guess, right?
she's not. No, she said she's
She has
not.
a choice of three apparently. So what
Yeah,
are you gonna do?
yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah. All right. Did you have another video? Did you want to have do Tim Walz and his penis loading of a gun or something like that?
oh, I got a couple here, but you did see him. This is from you, actually. You did see the man on, or the the wannabe vice president, the coach, if you will. So,
I yeah. I
on
okay. Here we go.
well, he was on the Daily Show recently, a comedy show, of
Yeah.
course, because it's where it's
Comedy.
friendly territory for him. He's,
Although Stewart's trying to get his edge back, I can tell. So
yeah, well, let's see what happens.
Being a gun owner, responsible gun owners know that you can protect Second Amendment, but your first responsibility is those kids. And you can do red flag laws. You can do extreme risk protection orders, background checks, and you can do getting assault weapons out of the streets and out of that. You can do that. So, I think we make a mistake on this one.
That's what he said. Again, it's
Oh.
all those. It's all those It's all the usual platitudes. Let's get rid of the assault weapons. We could do red flag laws. He doesn't even know how red flag laws can be abused.
they are. Well, so let's break this down. Let's just break down the elements of what he said. First off, no, it's not all about the kids. They use the kids every time. It's like my old friend. You remember Jerry Doyle, radio talk guy, star of
Yeah.
Babylon 5, played Garibaldi. I love Jerry. Jerry would always have the kids going, "Yay!" And he always talked about it. Anytime they brought something like this up, it's all about the kids. It's always the kids. So it's not about the kids. The first responsibility of any gun owner is protect he and his family. So it's not about the kids. Sorry, Tim. This is meant to have an emotional effect. This is aspirational politics, trying to make you think somehow you can make a difference by supporting the banning of weapons. It's not true. It's just simply not true. Secondly, his other premise of get them off the streets, like Chris, you and I have been to big cities. I can
Right.
tell you for a fact that there are more people killed by shovels bought from hardware stores than what they call a rifle. It's just a sport rifle. Let's even the nomenclature is wrong. It's a sport rifle. It's a rifle that looks scary. I've got several, but they're just a rifle. And despite whatever they say, it's not a common weapon in crime. Rarely. It's so rare. Knives and shovels are more prevalent as weapons, right, Chris?
And let's face it, every gun is dangerous in Tim Walz's hands. All right, that's number one.
Well,
Number,
there.
I'm going to give you an obscure quote from an obscure song called
Okay.
"Big City" from Wall of Voodoo. It's from their 7 days in Sammy's Town album. It's about
Right.
life in big cities, and the bridge
Yeah.
goes, "I'm sorry, old man, but I just got to use this lead pipe on somebody. You'll understand." And that's the truth. These thugs will use any weapon to
course.
take down or to get what they
Are
want.
we going to have him come on, by the way, the Wall of Voodoo guy?
Andy's not political.
I don't
So,
care. He could
nah,
he could talk about his lyrics.
we'll have to put him on something. We can get him on the lounge with you. That would be pretty cool. I think I could
It's
do
like,
that.
well, yeah, it's like I know they're not political, but why don't we just have a discussion about their lyrics? I mean, to me, their lyrics were meant to have an effect. It may not
Right.
be political, but it was meant to reference some social issue of their time. Am I correct?
Exactly. Yes,
All
it
right.
was. Right.
All right. So to me, that's
cool.
a valid area of discussion because I'm an 80s guy. You're an 80s guy, right? I mean, come on.
Well, I'm with you there. And the fact is, it is relevant today. This was done in 1985, and it's relevant today.
Yeah, exactly.
So there we go. That's Wall of Voodoo. If you get the chance, 7 Days in Sammy's Town, great album. So Tim Walz doesn't quit though. There's no
No,
there's no article of the
well,
Bill of Rights that he doesn't like.
he wasn't in, he wasn't, eating.
I think we're freezing up a little bit, by the
Who?
way.
Him?
Bear with us. Yeah. Oh,
Is there anything in the Bill of Rights about the eating barbecued iguana?
no,
I've
but
always wondered about that. So
well, Stan told me in an interview it tasted like
Tijuana,
chicken.
you got to
So
be in
yeah,
Tijuana.
yeah.
Tijuana. Yeah.
That's right. Here you go. Tim Walz does not like the Bill of Rights, so he didn't stop with the Second Amendment. There was another. I guess he was on MSNBC, the Democrat safe haven, if you will, and talking about what he doesn't like about the First Amendment. You want to check that one out?
I think we need to push back on this. There's no guarantee to free speech on misinformation or hate speech, and especially around our democracy. I think we need to push back on this. There's no guarantee to free speech on misinformation or hate speech, and especially around our democracy.
Think about that. What does he get wrong? First, it's a
Yeah.
constitutional republic. We know this, but when it's misinformation is what the left doesn't like.
Right. So I consider most of their content misinformation. We talked
Yep.
about some yesterday on the show. So two things that I find appalling, and I've mentioned this, I just mentioned it again because it's a great example, recent example. Chris, did you know, according to I think it's the Telegraph, that smoke is more deadly now than ever because of global warming? That smoke, that if you walk into a room of smoke, you may die because it's more deadly. Like, ooh, smoke. It's like that creature in Star Trek where it kind of floats around and sucks everything out of you and kills you. So apparently, Star Trek is real because smoke will come in and just kill you. I didn't know that, but this is what they're saying is a fact. This is said on NPR, National Panhandle Radio, as my friend Chris Plant, who I'm supposed to see later today. I may be on the air with Chris. I'm supposed to be joining him for the Right Squad on Newsmax later this evening. So, but yeah, I think it's a travesty that somehow we allowed smoke. Can you imagine that, Chris? We've allowed smoke to become more deadly because of our misuse of the environment, because somehow you and I have not pulled our weight. Somehow Lizzo and her jet has contributed to smoke being more deadly. Can you believe that? I'm just shocked.
That's some weight to pull. Let's put it that way.
That's some weight to pull.
Okay, so
Hey-o.
that's
Yeah.
a different story. Here you go. And the left despising free speech is going to lead us into a very bad direction. And our good friend Jenny Bellstar sent me an email.
Oh,
with,
Jen.
with the video. She's in Britain, so she can't come on with us and tell anybody
From the
anything
Bellstars.
because
We love Jen. We
right,
miss Jen.
right. We love her, but she
She's a
can't come on
political
here at
prisoner
the point.
in the UK now. Yeah,
Right. She's going to be. Right. So she sends me this video that is all too relevant here when it comes to free speech in America, as is and the way the Democrats are treating it. This is what's happening in Britain right now. And believe me, if Harris gets elected, the left is going to sink its teeth into this a lot more and try to claim everything's hate speech. Everything we say is going to be against the law. Now, in Britain, God bless you is an offense, a criminal offense, mind you, if you say it to somebody like a Muslim who's offended. Check this exchange out. This is a guy and a police station in Britain.
No, but what I'm trying to say is that if it's going to cause distress, and it depends what context obviously why you would say that to someone.
So you're the police telling me that saying God bless you can cause someone distress?
Okay, but if you were to say that to someone who, for example, is a Muslim, and if you're going into their face and then saying that to them, knowing that they have their own beliefs, then yes, that is.
And you work for the police?
Yeah, of course.
So the police are saying that it's a crime to say God bless you to someone.
Sean, you wouldn't get arrested if it wasn't causing distress to other people.
So you're saying, for legal purposes, that it's a crime?
If it's causing distress, then yeah.
What's your
Think about that. If it's causing somebody distress, if you say something that causes somebody distress, it's a crime in Britain.
Well, I can tell you that if that's the standard, I would be using this as a tool back against them. I would be offended by any little thing they say. I would cram this down their throat so fast. I mean,
You're not a protected class, so it doesn't count.
no, no. I would
this
make
is
it count. Trust me.
okay.
Trust
This
me.
is the
There's ways
future of
doing this,
America.
Chris.
Right. It's the
There's way-
future of
yeah.
America.
No, I get your point, and we need to be aware that this is what Jen has been very good about being part of our team, our extended.
Yep.
I don't even consider it's like left or right anymore. It's more right or wrong. It's like this is
So then we're
this is
right.
not a Republican issue. This is, I mean, this is why Tulsi Gabbard. You saw Tulsi join the Republican Party last night. So
Yeah.
as everybody sees what's going on, because Tulsi saw this for what it is, and we need to have Jen on. Will Jen come on sometime and talk about this, or
We're working on
I don't
this,
know.
but she doesn't want to be thrown in jail. Think about this. This is I was bring our guests in. Think about this. How woke is the left? The answer is this, and I actually tried. I wrote an analysis. I did an analysis about this just recently on another thing. How the left is so woke that the only trans senator left the party because the party was too woke. Think about that.
Wow.
That's Kristen Sinema left the party because the party was too woke.
Yeah. Oh, there we are. Speaking of people who we didn't mean to refer to you guys. Chris was just joking. You're not woke. Good morning, Susan. Good morning,
No,
Josh.
I'm not woke at all.
Are you awake?
Good morning.
But
So, no,
Good
Chris
morning.
was making fun of woke people,
We
and
always
you know,
yeah, the
I
sleep.
consider woke people kind of, you know, if there was a class that ever rode the short bus to school, that was them. It was all those kids who were licking the glass, you know, putting their boogers on the glass. Like, okay,
Ugh.
you know, we know why you're.
I
on the
think they
short
get a
bus.
pass. I think that woke is a nice, cute little word for a hardcore leftist, and it helps them greatly to be called woke because then they don't have to. No one has to confront how far to the left they are. You know, they're just
Well,
woke.
Well,
They're woke.
no, they are. So anyway, well, we want to introduce you all to our audience. So welcome to Wake Up Patriots. This is Ed Henry's Wake Up Patriots, where
Right.
our evil overlord is probably watching. Hey, Ed, good morning. Anyway,
if you're in the chat, yeah, good morning there.
Good morning, Ed. We love you. Anyway, Susan Olson from Cindy from the Brady Bunch and our dear friend. Susan, I'll be seeing you next week, right? At least for
Oh
some
yes,
events.
yes. You're
It's
coming
right
out
around the
to
corner.
La La Land.
Awesome.
Whiskey a go-go. That's right.
Mhm.
We, you know, and then and Josh Brewer is the co-host of their podcast, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
My
so-
partner.
So tell us about the podcast, because I think someone named Tony Schaefer is supposed to join you this weekend, right?
Yeah, that's what we hear. Well, Susan and I have been friends for a long time. Susan appeared on a show I was hosting for the David Horowitz Freedom Center called the Glazov Gang about 10 years ago. I rang Susan up and she came in and she was great. And I was a broadcaster in the National Hockey League for almost 20 years. And when I moved off from that, I said, I want to work on these kind of issues again. And Susan was the first person who came to mind.
Oh.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Well-
we had wanted to do something close to almost 10 years ago. And then we both went, we still have regular jobs. And
Don't
you know,
we all?
We're going to talk politics. Yeah, we both still do too, but it's, you know, I'm at least semi-retired, and I haven't pursued acting since I was 23, which is 40 years ago.
No, time
Um,
flies.
But you know, it definitely puts you in a category, kind of along with lepers here in California, if you're not a leftist, if you're not woke.
Well, I mean, you and our friend Cherie get around to talk to folks, and I think there's a larger conservative underground than you know. I've got friends I don't want to mention their names here because they still feel that they want to work, and there's some pretty big names that you know
Yes.
that I talk to and you guys talk to that just and I love them. They're conservative, but they feel you know it's in their interest right now to stay under the radar, which is fine. I mean, I respect that. With that said, it's sad that we have essentially a political system that is so highly charged and vicious. They're the vicious ones, by the way. I always hear this about. It's like, oh, it's political. So one of the things I talked about yesterday on the show, just briefly, and I bring it up now. National Public Radio or National Panhandler Radio, take your pick, was talking yesterday that they did a study. There was a study done saying that there's more political violence starting in 2016 when Trump ran than ever. It's like, oh, there's all this political violence and all these violent white men. It's like, what?
Huh?
What universe do these people live in? I mean, it's insane.
It's the universe of projection, and I do feel I believe very strongly in the saying that all it takes for bad people to win is for good people to do nothing.
Yep.
And I think that if you know what's going on, and so many people, they just don't know how dire the situation is.
No.
So they're like, I don't really like Trump because I don't like the way he talks, and it's like. If you're choking in a restaurant, are you going to refuse the Heimlich maneuver from the guy because he has a fake tan? No, this is about saving the country. And so I believe a lot in being strong enough and brave enough to speak up. But that
Yeah.
being said, I've now been banned from Facebook for 6 months.
What?
No,
I
what?
don't
Wait a
know
minute. Hold
why.
on a second.
What's happened?
When did this?
2 days ago.
Nice.
Logged in, and it said 180-day suspension.
Oh,
Oh,
this is
goodness.
bad.
Did you post one of our shows? What happened?
Wow.
Yeah.
You know what? The only thing I can think of was I posted. I was so moved by seeing Donald Trump at McDonald's. I said,
I thought it was
"Okay,
everybody
I've
loved
always-"
that. Well, on our side, everybody loved that. It was great. Yeah.
I said, I've always held reservations. I'm voting for him, but there's things I don't like. No, that stunt put me over the top. I now am going to say I love him, and that's my president. And boom, that's all I can figure. That's why I got kicked off Facebook. Fascist book.
Fascist book. That's about right. Again, they're telling you that they're not. Even Zuckerberg's trying to play nonpartisan and everything. But if you'll notice, it's a lot of people on the right who bring up a video or bring up a point that find their way either shadow banned or kicked off. That's what happens, and that's what we've been seeing.
That's the truth. That's the fact. I mean, look, if you're Antifa or BLM, you can riot, you can kill, you can do way more destruction. But if you're conservative and you take a selfie in the Capitol, you're in prison.
Well, I think
No,
that
it's
if you
true.
take a look at like what Vivek wrote in his book, it's a state action. If the state is using the corporate media to censor, that's a state action. And if you look at, you talk about what we ignore all these things. You talk about violence. We ignore the 2020 George Floyd riots. We ignore all kinds of Antifa. We ignore, and I'll tell you right now, I've been saying to a lot of my fellow Jews, if there were any other minority being blocked from going to class by mobs of people, like if there was a bunch of MAGA hat wearing white guys blocking minorities from going to class on campus, they'd send in the National Guard. So look at what they're overlooking on these campuses when they block Jews from going to class. I mean, they're ignoring things that are very grave. I mean, this is very real what they're ignoring.
Well, let me hit that, Josh, because one of the things Susan and we had Robert Spencer on a while back, right, Susan? We talked about
Yep.
radical Islam.
Yeah.
So there's a great Washington, a New York Post article out right now about the origins of, and I didn't know we were going to go down this path, but I'm glad we did. And maybe we can talk about this Saturday. There's a great Washington Post, New York Post, because New York Post actually does news, where it talks about the origins of Hamas and how Hamas got started here. A Palestinian who came over organized the link between Iran and Hamas. Now, remember this, and Susan, you know this. The Sunni are the Arabs, the Shia are the Iranians. Well, Hamas is actually Sunni. They're Arab. They're Arab style dissidents, but they bridged over. It's like a Reese's cup of evil, if you will. I put my Shia in your box dish or whatever it is. What is, and that's what they did. So, but my point being is that we don't educate ourselves, and the left constantly says, "Oh, it's genocide." It's like, what? You can't have a genocide. 9 million people cannot kill 400 million people. It's not possible. So every time I hear this, it's like, are you people nuts?
Yes,
how is it you can so ignore these facts? And the other thing, and Susan knows this, I've been adamant about supporting Israel. I work for Newsmax. Newsmax is supportive. That's the overall policy as well. But Josh, the Democrats and Kamala Harris have become the party of anti-Semitism. Am I correct on that?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Susan and I have gone on and on and on about this. And, it's a part of the left that unfortunately, a lot of my fellow American Jews don't want to face. There's been, talk about the long march through the institutions, the Hamas emerging from the West, for example, would not surprise me at all. The Muslim Brotherhood has been very serious for 100 years.
Oh yeah,
about how they're going to do things on a global scale. They're very patient, and they'll wait another 1,000 years if they have to. But academia, what's happening on campuses right now is entirely predictable. Only the ignorant are surprised that all up and down academia you have anti-Israel sentiment. Years ago, friends of mine at Harvard said, you don't understand. Every single word taught about Israel at Harvard is completely anti-Israel. So, no, it's not a surprise to me. And I think that the Muslim Brotherhood is something that a lot of people don't want to they don't want to talk about it, but it's very, very real. And it is a march through our institutions and especially academia.
Well, and I like to call it Islamism.
I like that. Islamism.
Yeah, it's a collusion between the hard left and Islam. And the problem is not so much anti-Semitism as it is Islamophilia, which is the opposite of Islamophobia, which is a word that was created by fascists, and it's used by cowards to manipulate idiots.
Right.
It's a fake word that the Muslim Brotherhood promoted, and this is their agenda, and it's no surprise. They've been very clear about what they want to do, and so the communists wanted to infiltrate education and entertainment, and they're colluding. They think that they're going to, much like in early Afghanistan. They thought, let's get. It wasn't communist, but they were getting the Mujahideen to do their dirty work. I think that, now the hard left is trying to get Islam to do its dirty work.
I want to mention one thing Tony touched on in Operation Dark Heart that I just started reading, is that how warfare has changed. And I'm not changing the subject here. I want to point out that in our discourse, notice that everybody has ignored. Everyone has ignored that Hamas is hiding behind innocence and that warfare itself has changed. Everybody's just ignoring this. Like this is not the 67 war, the 73 war. It's not World War II. The fact that in our communications, that in our media, that no one's really talking about, they're hiding behind innocence, and it's completely overlooked.
Yeah, and what's his name? Honey Boo Boo? No, the head of
Lizzo in her jet.
Huh? The leader that was just killed, he said.
No, Lizzo. I was
Honey,
fun.
yeah. Hamas's leader.
Yeah,
Okay.
people. Please don't get upset. I'm not saying Lizzo's part of Hamas. Don't write us.
Right.
We're not saying.
No one's saying that.
No, it's just
no one's saying that Lizzo's part of Hamas. But it could be, but we don't know. We're not saying that.
No.
But with that said, Susan, no. And so to your point, Josh, people ignore the very issues that we're talking about. So the Israelis have just decided, to your point, to use this new form of warfare to start winning. They've been held back by us, by the Biden administration. They just decided one day, F y'all, we're going to start telling the truth about what's going on, reminding people. And Susan, I don't know if you ever saw that, and Josh, I don't know if you ever saw that video that they were quietly showing of all the atrocities of 7 October. They should have publicly released that.
Oh, I agree.
So
no, day one.
Saw,
I agree.
Well,
day one.
It said this is what they do. This is who they are.
Yeah. But never fear.
Yeah, any kind of decency in the face of that, I think was a mistake. I understand, I understand the beast, but no, let her rip. You got to show people doing all this. This is insanity.
Well, hold on. Never fear, because the situation is going to be handled. I was assured of this when I was watching Kamala Harris talk with Al Sharpton on MSNBC.
Right.
She said, now get this. She said everything's going to be okay because they're sending Anthony Blinken to handle the situation.
Yes.
So never fear. Isn't that going to be terrific? Now we all can rest easy because Anthony Blinken's there.
He's going to write a letter with 51 CIA guys, and they're going to write a letter saying that everything's fine.
And he's
And
going to
it'll
play
be
some Stephen
subliminal.
Stills on the guitar.
Well, but this leader also said
That's
he
right.
wants
Did you
more
know that? Speaking of
Palestinian.
guitar, did you know
Yeah.
his?
He wants more
Of course,
women and
yeah. Did
children.
you,
to
Yeah, he
Susan?
wants
Did
them
you
dead.
know that?
You're
Speaking
right,
of guitar playing, speaking of guitar playing and Tony Blinken, did you know that in college his nickname was Spanky Banana when he was in a band? Did you know that? People don't know that.
I like that Spanky Banana.
No, not really. It's a joke, but it could be true. I mean, we make things up here. If
Hey,
the
you
left
never
can make
know.
things up, we can too, right?
But
You
they
never
made
know.
it fair game. They made it fair game because all I'm hearing is Donald Trump is going to instill an abortion ban. I'm thinking he said repeatedly.
That's right.
It goes by the states. They should be very happy. California can have its abortion on demand till the end if they want, even though it's disgusting. But if they want that, that's what they can have. Nobody's
That's right.
banning
Josh,
abortion.
Josh, did you know that Project 2025 is going to ban the yellow and mustard, that you can no longer have yellow mustard? I don't know what they're going to do after that happens.
Yeah, no, they're still attributing to that.
terrible.
Even Trump, they're still attributing that Heritage Foundation thing to Trump.
I know.
even though
It's
he says he
insane.
doesn't want.
It's
They just
insane.
keep repeating it. They're still repeating Russian collusion, even though
Yes.
that all came up to be nonsense. So they just keep repeating and repeating.
Yeah, of course.
Russia.
And I got to ask you guys if any of you find this a strange coinky dink. That right about, or at least when I was aware of it, now they're saying that Trump wants to use the military against American citizens, and that was
Insane.
right on the heels of finding out that the current administration has. And I forget the name of it. The initiative, it's not exactly a law, but it's giving the military permission to kill American civilians. That they've actually done. And right on the heels of it, now they're promoting this idea that Trump wants to use the military on Americans.
Yeah.
Well,
It's what he said. And Josh, I think you can, I just want to hit this. It's like he said he will use the military to bring back order. That's what he said. And he's talking about the Antifa and BLM
Yeah.
rights, what he's referring to. That's it.
well,
Yeah, but they actually have
yeah.
initiated, giving permission to the American military to use deadly force on American citizens.
Oh, they did on Americans in
Yes,
in
I
North
gotta send
Carolina.
it to
Yeah,
you.
here in my state.
Yeah. So, I just find it suspicious because they are the party of projection.
Well, let me ask you guys this question. Do you think that that there's something brewing
Oh yeah.
in
Yes.
terms of not letting Trump serve? I mean, even if he wins, they're
Yeah.
going to find some Sovietsky style way to
Oh,
A,
yeah.
they'll throw him
Well,
in
you
jail.
heard
They'll throw him in jail. B, they're just not going. They're going to find a mechanism to not let him serve. And I can only imagine what happens in the country if that happens.
what's his name? Raskin, the crazy guy, Jamie Raskin.
Yeah,
Joe
He's
Biden said
on
it yesterday,
video
lock him
talking
up.
about
Yeah.
this. That's right. He's on video for months
Yeah.
talking about this. They're going to try to use the 14th Amendment to say, well, he can't serve. They've used the lawfare that was laying down the groundwork for something they're going to try after he wins because they know they're not going to win this election. And
Well, here's the
they've
question.
known it for a long time.
Here's a question. Look, I kind of can sense the general age group that the four of us are in. Are they having? Is it just possible that there's just people are not? There's too many younger people in this country, younger than all of us, who don't really know what the hell the Soviet Union was all about. You know what I mean? Or what that kind of authoritarianism was all about. Is it possible that too much of the population just doesn't really have a concept of why this is wrong?
Yeah.
Funny you mention that because think about it.
Yeah.
It's 2024.
I think you're
When
right.
you're talking about the Cold War ending in the late 80s, 89, that's about as detached as we were from before World War II. In that respect, we learned about it. We got a lot of discussion because there were veterans still around talking about that. But now you have children, you have kids. This is the World War II was 80 years ago. World War I was over 100 years ago. It's like the Civil War to them now. They
I'll
don't
tell
really
you-
understand the concept, what really happened, why things went on. They only know the Reader's Digest version, and that's dangerous too. Limited information and low information.
I started to get an inkling of this in working in hockey, because I'll be very brief. If you know about all the defections in the 80s, and it was very brave defections. You wouldn't believe what some of these hockey players did to get out of the Czech Republic, to get out of Czechoslovakia at the time, and out of Russia, et cetera. I could go on and on. You have no idea how harrowing some of these journeys were. But then as I was talking to younger and younger hockey players, none of them knew anything about it. And then only some of the older Czechs, they were like, oh yeah, we grew up knowing about this.
Right.
But as time went on, I said, what are they teaching my kids? So I always ask, like Susan or any of our other guests, I say, how old's your kid? Oh, my kid's 30. How much did they teach you about the Soviet Union? And it's probably nothing. And I don't think they taught my kids about it. My kids are 17 and 19. And so I try to teach them, but this kind of authoritarianism where, oh, you're not going to be allowed to serve. I think there's a lot of Americans will go along with this.
Oh, yeah.
Fair enough. To your point, if you look at the Obama era, where the idea is the left is trying to suppress a good part of history, and part of that is the evils of the Soviet Union, the evils of technically what's happening in North Korea, and the evils of Nazism in a way, except for that Reader's Digest version. But they're also trying to hide the evils of the Islamic regimes over the last 2,000 years. Case in point was when President Obama at the time had to grit his teeth, and he went kicking and screaming when he had to say one thing about the Armenian genocide. One thing. He was pressured by Armenian Americans, but it took him forever to do so because the Democrats have tried to ignore that for years. They don't teach it in schools, and the reason for that is because of Zinstery. You can't look at the Armenians, who are supposed to be the white oppressors, as the victims, and vice versa. The Muslims are supposed to be the oppressed. So they couldn't do that. And that's what they're teaching these days. These kids know nothing about the Armenian genocide.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah, and I'd have to say it was W who answered the letter from the 57 Islamic organizations, all under the Brotherhood. They sent a letter to the administration requesting that that our soldiers not be taught anything about Islam, and that Islam be scrubbed from all the educational resources. And Robert Spencer had a job teaching our soldiers, and he was fired because you can't teach them about Islam.
Yeah. So that's something that I fought as a military guy, is that within the context of understanding Islam, to understand that Islam has a violent history. It's a religion based on subjugation and pure terror. And Susan, one thing I don't understand is how anybody on the left who supposedly is a feminist somehow supports a religion which basically says that women are half a human being. How is that possible that the left embraces that when they supposedly say that women, or they defend women? I mean, how is that possible?
I asked that very question of Gloria Steinem.
Yeah.
While talking to her in the Brady Bunch backyard, which, by the way, I love her because she was willing to talk. And she knew that I was on the opposite side. But I said, I can't believe in a movement that would have Linda Sarsour, Sharia advocate, leading a women's march. I mean, that is the zenith of stupid in my mind.
Well, again, Linda Sarsour was somebody from the protected class who was loud enough, and somebody that the left could just march off saying, look, a minority woman is speaking. See, that's the big one. Mm-hmm. A black woman is speaking, a minority woman is speaking, this woman is speaking. That's where they were hoping to get their base, and technically it worked. And by the way, going back to my shopping cart discussion earlier, think about this: that woman's march, garbage all over the place afterwards. You saw the pictures; it was disgusting. Everything was left a mess. After the old Tea Party, after the old Tea Party protests, everything was cleaned up and put away.
Oh, of course.
Right.
But speaking of cleaned up and put away, Josh, do you think if Kamala and Tim Walz lose, do you think Tim Walz will transition to be a woman?
Yeah, I don't know if
I think it's already in. I think it's indicating that that's where it's going. Just saying. It's like,
Well,
There's
yeah,
something there.
he probably will. He might be closeted about it though, like maybe in public he won't, but maybe he'll just join Queers for Palestine, another
Well,
morally
that's
clear,
what. Yeah, I was going to go
another
down
morally
that path
clear
next
group.
because,
Yeah, yeah,
man, you got these people who literally. I mean, I've seen videos where you have literally gays and lesbians for Palestine. It's like, do you not
oh my God.
understand? You'd be the first ones they put to death. I
Yeah,
mean,
chickens for
what is wrong with
Chick-fil-A.
these people?
And Netanyahu said that in when he spoke to Congress. He's it's like
Yeah.
chickens for KFC, and
Yeah.
but it just stuns it just stuns you to think of the level of ignorance. But it makes you just what's coming. It really makes you wonder what's coming, because all this stuff that's being allowed now and that's passing as normal discourse now, and the things that are happening on campuses now, it makes you really wonder what is coming, because how much worse can it get? So
Well, I think it get a lot worse because you have. And by the way, on that note, I don't think anybody would forget that one of the key targets of Hamas on the 7th of October was the Nova Music Festival, full of gays and lesbians and
yeah.
people with who are very light in their loafers, and women who wore Birkenstocks, right, Susan? Nothing
Yeah.
wrong with women wearing
And,
Birkenstocks.
and a lot of the kibbutzim, are very, very lefty, very liberal kind of people.
Yeah.
And, we talk all the time on the Crusher about we need to draw a line between liberal and leftist. And I always applaud. By the way, I always applaud Bill Maher, because I don't like 90% of his politics, but he's real crystal clear about what's the difference between a liberal and a leftist.
Yeah.
And we don't
Yes.
talk about that enough. I mean, I tell people, please, geez, would you please understand the 1992 Bill Clinton, the JFK, they're not welcome in the Democratic Party. We talk about this all the time, and we have to draw a line now, because what's passing as Democrat is completely insane. And I don't think people really know that these are not Democrats. I think that's a very, very dangerous thing that it's a very dangerous thing to not be able to make that distinction.
Well, no, I agree. And so one of the people I'm proud to know and have advised when she was still a Democrat is Tulsi Gabbard, who declared being Republican last night. And
Oh my
just so you
goodness.
guys,
She did?
yes,
Oh,
yeah, last night
I
in
wanted her
here.
to stay party pooper.
About an hour away from me here in Greenville. I live in Edenton. It's about an hour
Not
to
bad.
the west from where I'm at physically this minute. And just so you know, you might laugh at this, Susan. I don't know if I told you the story. Dennis Kucinich, my friend Dennis, comes to me one day after we were on Fox together talking about something. He says, "Hey, would you do me a favor?" It's like, well, Dennis, of course you're my friend. And by the way, Dennis is another. He's not a leftist. He's a traditional liberal. He's kind of the old
Yeah.
school.
Neat.
Let's talk about things and work it out. So he comes to me and says, "Hey, would you advise someone?" Sure. Who? Tulsi Gabbard. Like, really? It's like, sure. If she's willing to have that conversation. So next thing you know, I'm working with her as one of the military advisors. We did this quietly. I didn't want to get her in trouble because at the time I was, a Trump guy. And we would text back and forth. We were up in New Hampshire one time where she was doing an event. And I was there visiting Sig Sauer, the gun manufacturer who sponsors our radio thing.
Right.
And we were there, and I said, "Hey, wouldn't it be fun to go over and toilet paper Peter Buttigieg's office, his tree in front of his office? Wouldn't that be fun?" And she said people would go nuts. And it's like they would. Nobody has a sense of humor, but I'm glad to see that she had a move, because I don't think her principles have changed, to be honest with you. I think Tulsi
No.
Gabbard believes in free speech, freedom, reasonable things that we can do to help people, and freedom. And boy, those things were not welcomed as concepts in her party. So I think that's why she left. So.
Yeah, and I just want to say that I loved her when she was a Democrat, and back when I was still a Republican. So she's
Yeah.
always stood for it. It doesn't matter the label, but to me the truth is the truth, and it shines through, and it's always shined through her.
Susan, I was defending her on one of those lefty shows, Wake Up or whatever it was, because at one point in time during the debates, Google shut down her fundraising because she was scoring points against Kamala Harris. Remember that? They shut her down. It's like, and I was on the next day on air saying, this is bad politics. Well, you're a Trump guy. Yeah, so you should never be shutting down someone's ability to have political free speech, which includes fundraising. Why is that
And that's it.
controversial? So
You're not tribal. It's not, I'm only for my people. It's
Yeah.
There's an actress that I find especially loathsome.
It's the
and I won't name
principle.
her name.
It's the principle.
But yeah, she was saying she wanted to run for office, and people going, "Oh my gosh, it's so terrible," and expecting me to chime in. I'm like, no, don't give her grief. That's her right. She's an American.
Well,
She wants to run for office. Let her. Listen to her.
well, that's the thing. The left wants you to march in line, and in a way, the Republicans were like this too for a long time until Trump busted through. The idea was if you march the party line and you're hand stamped as far as a candidate by the Council on Foreign Relations or other similar groups like that, then you can move forward. If you're a person of the people, yeah, we'll let you in the first couple of rounds, but you're not going to get questions, you're not going to get anything, and you're not going to get the spotlight. Case in point, even the Republicans pulled
Yep.
this garbage off with Ron Paul in 2012. Fox would not allow him in their debate because he didn't meet the standards. He got more delegates, more votes, and he raised more money than two people who met the standards: Rudy Giuliani and the guy from Law and Order, Senator Thompson. So uh, it's more a monolith party control that Trump and regular people broke through in 2016,
Right.
and both sides are very upset. That's why the neocons have joined forces with the likes of the Democrats. So they'll
Boy,
never
oh
let
boy.
somebody like Tulsi Gabbard.
So I'd like you guys
run.
to come back and talk about it. Whoever thought that we'd see Taylor Swift and Liz Cheney on the same side, right?
Or a Democrat candidate, being so proud that she has Liz and Dick.
No, here's what I want to see. I want to see Dick Cheney and Tim Walz go hunting together, and that would be a great campaign video.
That's right. Boy, and I always think that whenever I see the Harris Walls sign, I always think Harry Balls. And man,
Yeah.
I don't know why that is. Like
When a Kennedy is telling you not to vote for the Democrats, you know it's serious, right?
Yeah.
When Robert F. Kennedy
yeah.
tells you don't do this, they're nuts. They're
Oh, yeah.
gone nuts.
Yeah, well, the other
They've
candidates
they've gone
doing their
nuts.
best to
Well,
keep her there.
Tim is pretty nuts. And by the way, he almost lost his nuts when he was loading a shotgun, because if that thing gone off, he would have been transitioning to a girl. Just saying.
Speaking,
Maybe
and
it's what he
also-
wants.
Yeah, well, think
Maybe
about
it's what
this.
he wants.
Tim Walz likes to compare himself to Tommy Tuberville because I'm a coach like Tommy Tuberville. The coach he reminds me more of, as far as college ranks are concerned, is Jerry Sandusky. But that's another story for another day.
That is another story. We got to run. I got to get on the road. I got to get ahead because I got to be in DC later today to meet with
Yes.
folks. So I got to go. Anyway, Susan and Josh, thank you for being here this morning. The Patriots love you. We'll have you back. I want to have you come back
The
and talk more
Crusher
about
podcast.
And Tony's on
Yeah,
the
Crusher podcast.
Yes.
The Crusher
and
podcast.
I'll be joining you guys to tape or do. Was it live or tape this Saturday?
We'll be taping, and then we'll throw it up exactly that
Good.
day.
All right, good. Well, I'll be taping with them, and we'll have a good time. And I
Saturday.
want you guys to come back, Chris. Make sure that you invite them back, because I think there's a lot of things we didn't get into today regarding propaganda, the old Soviet Union, where things are going, and it's going to be very important for us to help educate folks. Because I came up in the '80s. I went to high school in '70s. From 76 to 80. Went to college from 82 to 86. So I think there's things that we see and understand that today's generations don't understand, and I think it's our job to help educate them. So
Anytime. Thank you for having us. Anytime.
thank you.
Yeah.
All right, folks, Patriots, we got to go. I got to go. I got to look for me later today on Chris Plant. I'm going to be on with him on the right squad if I get there on time, because I got to hit the road. And then I'll be on some other things later today. So anyway, thanks for being here. We'll see you on Monday.
Yep,
Get
catch
your
Trixie and
get your
Deborah Lynn
coffee.
on Friday.
We'll see you Monday.
Yes.
Bye.